Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Mike Council, where we are culturally driven with no skips. Today is a special day as we talk about somebody who's fallen, who's helped institute the culture that you call hip hop. I am your host, Karev of Heritage Hip Hop, joined by the co-host. Please, gentlemen, introduce yourself, starting for the man in the middle.
DJ Kawon, Mixtape Show, Kawon J Media. What's good, world?
What up, what up? You already know what it is. Mr. Hello. I go by Seek, you know what I mean? Representing the Hello Effect Podcast. Welcome back to another Mike Council, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
We here.
That's what's up.
I'm Mike Tyson right now. I'm fighting. But to everybody out there watching, we're going to do a recap for you. We'd like to apologize for technical difficulties. StreamYard is trying to fight back. You know what I'm saying? But now that you're watching, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you comment. Our goal is 100 comments per show. 100. We want everybody to chime in. Questions, thoughts, concerns, everything. Not only that, we want you to subscribe to the 3 stations that you're watching right now. Heritage Hip Hop, DJ Kawon, and the Hello Effect Podcast on YouTube, because without your help, this show is not possible. And when all 3 of us reach 5,000 subscribers, that means all of us with the same number, we're going to give you something. You, the watcher, the person who has helped us build this foundation, we're going to honor you with something as a thank you and a token to our appreciation. But before we get into today's show, Kawon, how was your week? What was you going through this week?
Man, just life stuff, man. I try to, when you're a type of person like I am, I always want to help people out. You kind of got to back away from that sometimes because those people like to project their issues on you. So this week I did a lot of some deep conversations with people with hey man, I can't take this on personally wise, you know what I mean? This is your issue, you got to fight through. I'm here to support you, but I can't take on that information, you know what I mean? So people like to trauma dump on people sometime, and I just this is just one of those weeks I couldn't have it this week, man. So just kind of resetting a little bit for myself mentally, but we here though, man. We good. I'm happy to be here.
See, what about you?
My week, I'm just taking it day by day, man. Like, to be honest with you, it's really hard out here, you know what I mean? Especially for a person that's independently, self sufficient. But I'm fighting through it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm making smarter chances. I can't do certain things that I normally would do. You know what I mean? That's okay, because I've been through things like this. I know how to dumb it down. Other than that, just trying to stay focused on the brand. Just continue to build, just continue to edit and put out these interviews. You know what I mean? I'm loving the feedback that I'm getting from the people that I'm actually interviewing, you know what I mean? So, and another thing, shout out to Drums Rugged. You know what I mean? I had a chance to listen to the project that you produced, Kawon. You know what I mean? I went halfway through it. Like I told them, I love what I'm hearing, you know what I mean? Keep up the good work. And once I listen to the full project, I'm going to definitely, you know what I mean, get my feedback.
I appreciate that, brother.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Other than that, I'm just trying to elevate, yo. That's what I'm just trying to find ways to continue to grow the brand and continue, most importantly, to connect with the people. That's why I'm continuing outside, connecting with real people. That's how I want to build. You know what I mean? It's okay to build online, but I want to actually people to meet me and see what type of person I am. And I mean, hopefully we could build and connect. And whatever they're doing and I could help, we're going to make it happen. That's it, though.
No, indeed. Me, myself, I got the chance to meet the person who started hip hop for me. True respect to Ralph McDaniels. I met Ralph McDaniels face to face at the Salon series hosted by Rod Digger and the Lyrics.
All right, that's what's up.
And I got to give him an honorary plaque from Heritage Hip Hop.
Oh.
So because hip hop does a poor job at saying thank you, it is a blessing from God. I'm able to tell the man who helped start my journey here and a long other list of people, thank you. And that was one of the highlights of my week. It was very great. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Uncle Ralph. Yes, sir.
Word.
So with that being said, gentlemen, we only have one topic tonight, but it's going to branch off into everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And StreamYard is going to help us because we're gonna put a poll up with the new features that are now on StreamYard. So if y'all want to join,
shout out to StreamYard.
Would like to start a podcast, check out the comments. You could click on the link and and StreamYard to help you get your stuff ready. So let's get going. Let's get y'all out there. But April 9th, 2026, we saw a hip-hop pioneer pass away, Afrika Bambaataa of the Soul Sonic Force. The man who is attributed as ending gang violence in New York by making a unified crew, the Zulu Nation, who said, children, give me one second. The kid, he wanted the gang fights to stop in New York City. So the Zulu Nation got together and he called all crews together, and through organization of the Zulu Nation, we got to see kids get together like this one right here.
That's a blooper right there. Like.
Yeah, Jesus. So Afrika Bambaataa got the kids together to stop the violence in New York, only for turmoil to take over his story. Now, before we go into the turmoil, I got to direct this. We going in tonight. This is serious.
It's gonna get sticky out here. Word, fact.
Not over here. Good. But keeping it honest, yo. What do y'all think about what was y'all introduction to Afrika Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force? Come on, why don't you go first?
I think for me, to be honest with you, I think mine was more of a history telling. Like my uncles told me about it, you know what I'm saying? Because that was a little bit before my time. Because like I said, I was born in '79. So when I got, as I like to say, musically mature, I was like in my early teens. So I knew Bambaataa and what he did, his history. So I understood Zulu Nation and all of that. And, you know, you would hear like Tribe and all them shout them out and all that. So you would do your research on what that meant and stuff like that. So I definitely understood the importance of it and what he did. But it was right before my generation, I think, of that late 80s, early 90s hip hop. So, but I definitely understood what he did. So that was kind of like my introduction to Bambaataa and Zulu Nation.
See, what about you?
Be honest with you, I never knew nothing about him until maybe, if I had to guess, probably like 15 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago. You know what I mean? It's obviously, I mean, the creator of hip hop and all that thing. You hear stuff like that, but I never really like stepped deep into his story until I started hearing weird stuff about him. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So to be honest with you, I still got to personally do my research, and I'm gonna do that now that he gone, because I really want to know the history before all the bull stuff. But I still want to know about that also too. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much it.
For me, Afrika Bambaataa was a pivotal point of hip hop for me because Video Music Box. Planet Rock was one of the main videos they played. Rock, Planet Rock, Don't Stop. You had the kids breakdancing, and that was the shit. So when I was in elementary school, and y'all, I am not 50 years old, so please don't hit me with the But when I was a kid, we was watching Video Music Box. It was all about people spinning on one knee in the gym. We was rolling people on cardboard out downtown Newark, you know what I'm saying, on Springfield Avenue, outside the shacks and stuff. People was breakdancing, you know what I'm saying, kids and stuff. We was breakdancing in the gym. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody, St. Mary's School, St. Rocco School. You know what I'm saying? We was getting it in, like watching people and seeing people do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? And then if y'all know anything about sampling and Kawon, we're going to talk about this too. Come on, yo. Perfect beat. Then LL Cool J done used it. Then fucking Lil Wayne used it. Perfect beat was like that. It was that song, you know what I'm saying? Like Afrika Bambaataa was the beginning of the futuristic sound and the change of inner city sounds on a high level. Like we give it to Kool Herc. Let me just say this, please, because the birthday of hip hop is in August of 1973. Let me tell you something. That was the agreed upon date for the birth of hip hop. The Zulu Nation had their own date, but Zulu Nation, KRS-One, Kool Herc and his sister Cindy, peace to everybody, they came together and came up with this. And through the teachers of the Zulu Nation, it was peace, love, unity, and having fun. It was people from all, no matter what creed, religion, race, ethnicity, all that, people came together. And it's funny how that sparked the conversation, because a while ago we saw hip hop was an American black thing. It didn't have Puerto Ricans, it didn't have West Indians, it didn't have this. But you have to talk to a native New Yorker about this, because a lot of people who sparked that conversation weren't New Yorkers. And if you look at it, a lot of the founding fathers of hip hop were American. Then you had Afrika Bambaataa, who's West Indian. You had my man Kool Herc, who's West Indian. Then you had some other people who were breakdancing and stuff. They say it came after, but they contributed to it going forward because New York was a melting pot. So the importance of Bambaataa and Zulu Nation was unity. The one thing hip hop is missing today, that's what it strove to be, as the unifying factor of getting all children from the inner city to stop fighting gang wars and having rap battles and dance battles and parties that helped raise money for the community. Gentlemen, what do you think about that as we start the show?
So I remember coming up as a kid, and I remember the block parties because my uncle was one of the DJs for a lot of those block parties in Rockaway. And everything you just said, the block parties, the break dancing, the DJs up from 3 p.m. to like 2 a.m. And they would rent out the space, like you said, the community center in the buildings to feed the kids and stuff like that. It was kind of, for us, it was always closer to back to school time when they did those. And yeah, they would raise money for the kids for like PAL to get them sporting gear for stuff like that, for team sports. They would raise money for, you know, to help out somebody who may be going through hard times and stuff like that. So those are my early memories of hip hop, you know, as far as the culture of hip hop and what it stood for, like you said, the peace, the unity, and the community and stuff like that. So I remember those very vividly. And, you know, those was probably some of my best memories, is just kind of watching people come together and enjoying themselves. And you would see, for us, depending on which building you lived in, right? I lived in the green building, shout out to 40 Projects. And each building was like a color. So you had the green building, red building, yellow building. And sometimes buildings would beef with each other. But whenever we had the park jams, it was none of that drama. You know, so everybody came out, everybody had a good time, and they chilled out for that day. You know what I'm saying? So it was always kind of cool to see that and know it wasn't going to be any drama. And we kind of policed ourselves whenever it was if it was any kind of static, they would kind of police themselves to where it wouldn't get escalated. So that's the part of hip hop, like you said, I miss, man. We can kind of come together and do that type of stuff and let it be community driven.
See, pick it
No,
up.
that's a fact. All right, so I just want to say this. I respect, you know what I mean, the positive contributions that Bambaataa did, but I hate that every time we have like power to lead, we always mismanage that motherfucker power and do something weird. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So my thing is, shout out to him, to all of the things he created, you know what I mean? Because this culture and that created a community, you know what I mean? Like block parties, you know what I mean? People probably met their girlfriends, their wives, their husbands there, you know what I mean? Or their best friends, like this. So that's a great thing. And that's why I gotta leave it at, you know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't know from the time do you know the dates? Like from time he was praised and to the time he was fuck him. Like what's the year span, if you don't mind?
All right. So the Zulu Nation was in the 1970s. Afrika Bambaataa was the head of the Zulu Nation to 2016. That's when the allegations started coming out. So for y'all who don't know, we're gonna run down some of this history. I was privy to interview one of the people who had a conference. I don't even want to say. I don't even know how to say. He had a meeting with Afrika Bambaataa. His name is Mr. Ronald Savage, right? Because of him,
I remember him. Yeah,
he said 1980, when he was 15 years old, he was essayed by Afrika Bambaataa, and we also had other people come out like Hassan Campbell, who's known on the internet for talking about things that had happened to him. And when that happened in 2016, Afrika Bambaataa said he never touched anybody. That's bull. And that's when a lot of the whirlwind came about. 2016. It's an echo somewhere. That's when we had the We had the allegations come out, and people from the hip hop community went bananas. And I remember specifically seeing Daddy O, a Stetsasonic, say, "Am I hip hop anymore?" Because he did this. Like, people started now questioning, should they be aligned with hip hop if one of the main progenitors of hip hop did something that was
That's
SA
him. That's
or
him.
homosexual or illegal? So that started a real big conversation piece. But my question is this: Kawon, as a DJ, you let me know the history. The DJ in hip hop came out of the disco clubs, right? Wasn't disco not known for that type of activity? SA, drug use, and everything?
Yeah, I mean, you can look up a whole bunch of stories about Studio 54, and it was all kind of stuff going down. You know what I mean? Like you said, with the drugs and the SA activities and all of that. So that's just that environment. But
So should we be shocked that something like that leaked into the culture?
Yeah, it should be, because everybody has choices. You don't have to go down that path. You chose that.
You're right. But my thing is, and I'm not accusing the founding father, DJ, or everybody about that, but I'm saying, if it came from that environment, is it outlandish to think parts of that environment was there at the beginning of hip hop's foundation?
No,
I don't think that's a wild question.
No, because you think about it as like being a parent, right? If you grew up seeing a certain environment that you was raised in, and that's going to naturally bleed over into your parenting skills, unless you check your blind spots, right? You know what I mean? Unless you realize, this ain't what I want to pass on to the next. So yeah, naturally, that's going to bleed over. I'm not shocked about it, but in the same token, and I don't know if we're gonna get into it, but like, you took advantage of young children and young people, and it's supposed to be peace, love, and unity, and you destroy those people's peace, love, and unity for the rest of their life. And that's a tough one for me to look past on anything. Like, you get to know past for me, and this is me talking for me, and that's across the board with all of these people in the industry, in the real world. Like, you could do all these great things, but once it comes to light that you just a bad person, for me, I don't care what you've done up to this point. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you contributed to whatever. And that's from stranger to streets of my own family members. If there's some wild stuff going on to where you a foul person, I can't rock with it. So I understand what he's done for the culture and what he did for us, but I just can't look past that, bro.
No, I respect it. Then another thing, I'm like, why would somebody lie? Like, I'm a straight person. Why would I lie and say you did something to me like that? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Nah, I feel like I respect anybody that comes out that something like that happened to them. You know what I mean? Because I don't give a fuck if you the president. I don't care who you with, Jay-Z, whoever people idolize. I don't care at the end of the day, because if you did some creepy, weird shit, you need to be shining the light for doing that weird, creepy shit. You know what I mean? And like I said, your contributions was cool, and that's where it ends after that. You know what I mean? And however people say about you, they're gonna piss on your grave. They feel that way. That's all I'm gonna say.
My only question with it was, because people are still homophobic. There's gay people in the world everywhere, y'all. Whether you like them, whether you don't, that's your problem. But the reality is, whether you accept it or not, it's there. And my thing is, if a lot of these DJs came from the disco clubs, even house music is rooted with homosexual roots. I don't see how hip hop could be any different. Whether you with it or not, it's there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, RP to Mr. C.
Right. And I want to get that out the way first, because we're not going to be homophobic and be like, man, F gay people did that. No, we're not going to do that. If it's not your lifestyle, you don't adapt to it, that's cool. But you're also going to give people respect because that's their choice. Now, if hip hop had those things in its infancy, it should not shock you if you knew that the people who commanded the culture were DJs, and DJs brought certain characteristics of past things they did with them. Like I said, once again, disco was heavy drug use, lots of sex, lots of SA, lots of everything.
Just to like, minors though?
Yes. Studio 50, yes.
Think about those girls, underage girls getting into the club and all that type of stuff.
Now I understand that. I understand that, but like everybody had choices, man. That's
You're
what
right.
I'm gonna say.
And my thing is that some of these people chose to bring that with them into the culture. Now, here's where I have a problem. Number one, I'm a spiritual dude, y'all. I read my Bible. If you ain't a Christian and you don't believe in it, I don't care. This is my thing. And my thing is this. It's a scripture that says it's better for a person to tie a millstone. A millstone is like an anchor to a ship. It said it's better for a person to tie a millstone around their neck and throw themselves into the water and drown than to mess with children, especially children of God. Let me tell you something. When it comes to children, this is very serious to my heart, especially because y'all know what I do professionally. People who don't know, I'm not telling you. But when it comes to children, there's a fine line that you do not cross. And throughout history, one way people conquered people was destroying the men and destroying the children and leaving the women in the position of reproduction. Kill the man. And if y'all never knew the stories of the Fountain of Youth and that whole thing, if y'all never knew about how the Greek gods were made when it came to essay on little boys and then making them into gods and statues with stories and all that, fine. Even in West Indian culture, in our culture in America, you have the breeding farms, you have all that. That stuff is taken very serious. So if an adult being a man with a woman or a woman with a boy child or whatever, when it comes to SA, that's something that's very, very sensitive, especially in brown skin communities, because we don't play people messing with our children. A person asked me, what is black love? Because black love don't exist. If you don't know that people get pissed when you mess with their kids, then you don't know what love is. And I don't know about y'all. Y'all may have children. We never really talked about that as men here. I know you saw my grandson. I don't really show him on camera too much because I'm very private and protective. But I'll tell you, if someone ever hurt a child in my family, I am going to war. When those type of allegations come up, now you're talking about something that has nothing to do with culture. You're talking about something that is with being a deviant and dealing with crime. See, how do you feel about knowing that part coming into the culture?
Once again, I'm gonna stand on this. I feel like anything in life is a choice. The choice to be in a culture or not be in a culture. The choice to follow what they do in a culture or not follow what they do in a culture. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just an independent type of person. I'm in a culture because I love the different parts of it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it brings us together. You know what I mean? Music. You know what I mean? Art, graffiti, breakdancing, the fucking shit in the parks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just standing on whatever your choice is, as a man, as a woman, stand on it. That's simple. And we're gonna judge you by it too. You know what I mean? If you decide to do all that weird shit, I'm gonna stand on it. I know a lot of people don't feel that way because I don't mean to go left, but once Diddy come home, those same people that was bashing him, they're gonna do business with him again at the end of the day. Whatever, if it benefits them, they don't give a fuck.
Go on.
And I thought about this before, as far as that dude Bambaataa. The story, revisionist history is saying this is what he did for the culture. But now I'm thinking in the back of my mind is like, yo, did he purposely endear himself to a lot of these kids who were in the streets, who didn't have parents, caring about them and checking in on them all the time? So he had access to a lot of these children in the hood. So that's the thing that comes up for me that bothers me on a lot. It's like, we're going to tell the story because, the victors always get to tell the stories. But my thing is now, what was his mindset while doing this? Because now like I said, you have access to all these children in your hood. and you're telling people this is what this is for. We're trying to build a community, we're trying to stop the fights, but you're like I said, you're endearing yourself to kids who are in gangs, you're endearing yourself to kids who have trouble, who may not have parents in the house, and all of that stuff. So that's why I say, for me to make up my mind on all of this stuff, man, like I said, I don't care what you did for the culture and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, like you said, you mess with people's children, and you've corrupted these kids' minds to where they're gonna have a problem for the rest of their life, because then obviously they're not going to get the best therapy to talk through all of that stuff, and there are probably grown men in jail now based off of being a part of this back in the day because they didn't know how to deal with this type of stuff. So it's a lot of fallout from stuff that could have been done to a lot of these people that we may have about, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, I think it could be darker and deeper than what it is, you know what I'm saying? But we just can't put a bow on it with this is the creative hip hop or whatever. Let's separate the two and move on. We got to stop doing that, man.
That's what I was about to say. Do the negative things overshadow like the positive things? Like
it can for me, because you're.
So what he did pretty much is going to erase. You know what I mean?
For me,
okay,
for me,
I got you.
For me, it does. Yeah.
I respect it,
because I feel like if you're doing positive things, you equally thinking about doing negative things. So it's you know what I'm saying? To me, it's a wash. It doesn't count. You can't say I'm gonna do two bad things just to do one good thing, and people gonna you know what I'm saying? For me, and that's just
I
for
get
me.
I get you.
Yo, let me contribute to the conversation here though. Let's talk about the issue that most people are missing. He did this and people knew about it and covered for him. Now, mind you, this happened in the drug era. So this is crack cocaine era. So there was people around him probably getting high and like do what you want as long as I get my drugs. There's people who covered this up because they didn't want their own dirt getting out. And like Kawon said, there's a lot of repercussions to one action. Because think about this, yo. When you do something wrong to a person, it's not only just you, that person, and God. It's you, that person, and that person's world, which means they're part of the community. How their part of society is affected. From a study that I looked at, I'm looking for my notes. I don't have the exact numbers, but there's a good number of young men who say they've gone into certain behaviors and lifestyles because they have been touched by someone in their family, or somebody touched them and they just couldn't handle it, especially at a young age. Now, mind you, as an adult person, the first time you get some sex, you turned out, you're like, oh, this felt kind of good. I want to do it again. Or maybe I want to try with this person, that person, this person, that person. She got a this and she got these, or he got muscles and he's taller. Like people have their things. Now, I can't say imagine because that's disgusting. But the thing about it is, some people, when you open them up, that one, it's like drugs, that one hit doesn't get satisfied unless you do it again and you feed a desire. My thing with that is this: people covered for them, people covered for their own thing, and not making excuses for them. I think we have a lot of deviancy that we need to cover. Let's go to the comments real quick, though. Drums Rugged says, I want to say I appreciate Afrika Bambaataa for all his contributions. I will forever enjoy the music he left behind. All the personal negative drama in his life is none of my business, but unfortunate. Brock Diamond said, this is so sad, and the unreported crimes are outrageous in our community. See,
yo, how you feel? Did you see the what Karev once said? It was an older interview though. I guess when it first came out. Did you see what he said?
About how Bama's untouchable and we can't go off after him?
Yeah, and all that stuff, and but pretty much he don't believe what people saying and stuff like that. That made me look at KRS One a little different, because I feel like at the end of the day, that's like if somebody saying something about any of you. I mean, I know y'all, but I still gotta use some part of my brain to be like, damn, let me figure this out. Why they saying this stuff about y'all? Like, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not just going to say, nah, that's my man's. I know you, but I still gotta, especially when it comes with kids at the end of the day. That's something really crazy. Why would somebody say any of y'all did something with kids?
Yeah.
Even if you my man, even I seen you always good, I still gotta take and think about it. Like, yo, you know what? Let me be quiet until this shit come out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But once again, why would children be lying and saying that my man's did something, touched him inappropriate, no matter if whatever. You a man, he's a boy. Touched him inappropriate, they kids.
Yeah,
How do
I
you
don't
feel
believe
about KRS-One?
I don't believe in coincidences. I think if a lot of people are telling the same story, you can't corroborate that with like 100. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds and hundreds of people can't tell the same story. So, yeah, man. People like Karev said, people close to him probably tried to hide the facts and all that stuff because people want to be close to power. You know, it's a weird dynamic where if somebody's viewed as powerful, if you feel like you got to
R.
protect that
Kelly,
person, yeah.
Diddy,
So
all of them been
it's
protected by people.
It's, yeah, everybody's protected. So everybody's kind of the culprit in the whole thing. You know what I mean? And like they always say, the crime could be bad, but the cover up could be just as bad or even worse on a lot of these situations. And we literally are watching this every day here in our country with all this other stuff going on political wise. So it's you know, we got to stop looking at a lot of these entertainers as heroes now. You know what I mean?
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Separate the art from the person, yo. Like,
Yeah.
you can love their work and their music, but if he a bad person, say what it is, yo. That's simple, yo.
Yeah.
We can't pick and choose who we gonna decide to not rock with.
I want to answer your question real fast because, all right, so this kind of bothers me on a different level, and not because it's KRS-One. Okay, I rock with KRS-One, but I was very hurt and disappointed when KRS-One said everybody's untouchable besides Bam. And when you think about this, he has children, and if someone deflowered his children but made the NPC, would they be exempt? You see what I'm saying? Like, KRS-One has since come out and said he's taking that back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I don't know if he's saving himself or something he's doing, but he did it. So that's all I can say about that. But what I will say is, you're right. When he backed him, when these allegations came out, it looked really bad because people started getting that KRS-One. One of KRS-One's story songs, 13 and Good, talked about how he went to a party and there was an underage girl there who was acting grown, and that's happened.
Crazy. That's crazy business.
But I'm gonna keep it real. You know, people did that all the time going into parties, and people did go, so I could understand that story. I don't hold it against them because that's happened. That's what happened. Every day in the life in the hood, you wake up in the morning. I mean, you know, whatever. But that's not SA. That's statutory, which has happened to people. I know people personally who've been in statutory, but the victim wasn't the child. The victim was the older person because the child lied. So that could go both ways. This other thing to me can't go both ways. And it's interesting because Ron Savage said, he recanted and said his allegations against Afrika Bambaataa he takes away because he was underage going into these clubs, acting like he was grown. And he might have, I don't know if he did, but he said he might have lied and said he was of age, met Bam, and then they had, you know.
So let me ask you a question. Is he gay? That's another question. Is Afrika Bambaataa gay?
To me, any man that messes with another man is gay.
Did anybody ask that question before he passed away? After all those allegations?
I don't know.
But was he on the same time in Mr. C? Because Mr. C got caught with 2 irregular, you know what I mean? And he said he wasn't gay. He said he wasn't gay though. So I'm kind of, that's all I was asking.
I mean, to me, that's a moot point. He still mess with people's kids. Like, you know what I mean? It don't matter if he wasn't. He still assaulted people's kids, you know. And I know people are like, you know, that's those are allegations. We don't know. He's lost a few civil trials, so he was found guilty in some courts.
Okay.
Criminally, the statute of limitations probably passed, so they couldn't file charges.
Actually, no. Shout out to Brock Diamond. He said, "Are allegations true, or do you have evidence of crime?" Well, that's what we're going to go into now, because Ron Savage and his movement, they extended through the law, the laws of limited statutations, whatever. They expanded that, especially to SA. So Bambaataa fell within that, and that's how he went. They took it to trial. And one of the cases where he lost, he didn't even show up.
Is that a state thing?
Just won.
Real quick, is that a state thing, or is that across the board?
State. Okay. That's state. That was in New York State.
See, I live in Texas, so you already know how they get down here.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, I know. But African in 2021, it says Afrika Bambaataa didn't even show up to one of his hearings, and he was found guilty. I'm sorry, 2025. No, it was filed in 2021 that he was sex trafficking minors, which is young boys, state to state, and having relations with them. And then a default judgment was placed against him in 2025. So by not even showing up to fight the allegations, he was found guilty. And unfortunately, we had people on different podcasts, on different shows, saying people knew that this is a thing that went around in the hood. Melly Mel talked about it. That's the
I seen that clip too. Yeah,
we have people who knew. So, but thing about me is this: you had people going to parties dressed up like Power Rangers and shit, and they dancing and stuff, and then they want to touch on your son. Yeah, parents already were worried and scared about their kids going out in the street in rough ass New York back in the day, and you were more worried about your children getting killed or being addicted to heroin, crack, cocaine, stuff like that. And then they come home and you find out in their 20 or 30th year of life, they were sexually assaulted. And then you wonder, did I do something wrong to my child by letting them go? Or could I have done something more? Or you see the changes in your child and they don't talk. I've had children in my class that have gone through things. And when they do, I ain't saying exactly this. What I'm talking about is psyche. And when people go through traumatic things, their character change, him holding emotional disposition change, angry for no reason, outbursts, sudden crying, can't sleep, shaking, hiding. When you see things like that, and then the child is like, no, I'm good. And they're focusing this thing in their mind. And back then, this was not something we had therapy for. It wasn't well-known sessions for this. This caused a lot of issues that could have led to more drug use, more crime. We now, even today, we have STD rates blowing up in this country because people are just acting wild. And I, not through experience, but through knowing of people who've gone through these things, a lot of their wild side started after these type of things happened to them. So when you think about this, is the legacy easy to separate when you have what the culture became as to the person who helped start and found it? What do y'all think?
Not for me, man. Like I said, the culture was built off of peace, love, and community.
Now hold that thought. That thought. Because you know what? People still praise Dr. Dre after he whooped Sister D's ass.
Who did issues with that? Yeah,
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
And
I said who praised him?
A lot of people, they still champion Dr. Dre. He's this, and even when he apologized to D Barnes, the one thing she said is because they keep bringing it up and he still talks about it, she relives it, and that's trauma.
Yeah.
All right, forget Dr. Dre. What about KC and Mary J. Blige? Now, what do we think about Diddy? What do we think about R. Kelly? What do we think about this Usher story? Everybody forget Usher was allegedly spreading herpes. I don't know if he did, but
word out, yeah, word. They sweep that on the road. It's too much stuff going on. But that's I think how we get lost in it, because there's so much stuff that's going on. Then you still got to focus on your personal life. But me personally, like I talked about this a year ago about the Tory Lanez situation. Like you was found guilty, my brother. Like for you to get you caught up in all that nonsense with a female is got me looking at you weird. So I'm on the same shit you on, Kawon, like respectfully. Like I lose all.
So now, yeah, it is. It's like I lose all respect. I don't, you know what I mean. But I don't never recall Dre saying that he was a leader of a culture, or you know what I'm saying, or you know.
Word,
so
that's true. That's true.
So it's you kind of. I'm not saying you have to look at each case at a different, you know what I'm saying, situation, but you
could choose not to support that person though.
You could choose not to support that. Like R. Kelly, I don't listen to his music, you know what I'm saying? Because when things came out, it was underage girls, it was a bunch of wild stuff. Diddy, like they're monsters, right? So I choose not to fool with them like that. But like I said, Tory Lanez and all that stuff, that's just some wild, you know, stuff going on. The Megan Stallion stuff, the Chris Brown, Rihanna. Chris Brown still dealing with that stuff industry wise, Rihanna too. So you do have to look at it all in different phases of what, depending on the situation. But these people weren't the person who was positioned himself publicly as, you know, I'm the leader of the Zulu Nation. This is peace, love, unity. This is, you know what I'm saying? So it's I don't rock with them either way, but it's crazy either way.
So this how like is fuck Trump, is fuck Afrika Bambaataa.
For me, it is.
All right, so I think we good here. We have a poll. Y'all see the poll?
Yeah.
New shit on StreamYard. Should Afrika Bambaataa get a pass to save his legacy? Yes or no? I would like for y'all to be a part of the show. Let us know. What do you think? I want to go to Brock Diamond. Brock Diamond says, so do we look at people who say nothing? How do they get a pass? They don't. And that's the point. A lot of people, let's flip this, y'all. We're going to flip it. Flip it around and reverse it. Look, what about the people who said something and got penalized for it? Now, I want to give respect to Star from Star and Buck Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give respect to Doggy Diamonds. Y'all know how I feel about Ralph McDaniels. Doggy Diamonds is up there for me too. When I meet him, perfect. But anyway, Star talked about these allegations first on the radio on Shot 97.
Mm-hmm.
Doggy Diamonds talked about this and took the thing on and almost lost his YouTube channel because he was trying to stick up for people who said they were victims of this.
Mm-hmm.
Hassan Campbell was there, and them two fell out, I guess, over time. And, you know, Ron Savage, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing I do know in American culture, I don't know if y'all remember this, it was a man who ran, this was a Caucasian individual at that. He ran a Boy Scouts type of thing, a YMCA, and SA a man's son. The man got arrested and extradited. The father flew to where this man was. And this happened in the 80s, y'all. So you know it was wild, rugged, right?
He's coming out of the airport and he shot him?
He shot him in the face. Remember that, right?
I seen that shit, yeah. It was on camera.
And recently, this month, in another country, there was a woman whose daughter was SA'd by a grown man. The daughter was like under 13, young baby, like. And the man was in his like 40s. And he SA'd the daughter, and the mother beat the man to death and killed him. And she didn't go to jail. The father shot the man in the face. He went to jail. Now, look at the people who do say something, who want answers, who want justice or retribution, and they are held to task more than the people who actually did the crime. Is that fair? What should we do for them? The people who do talk and who get penalized, and the people who don't talk and don't get penalized.
Shoot, that's the $1 million question.
I mean, the justice system got to do their job too. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because they lazy, they ain't investigating. If I come to you try to report a crime, especially, I feel like if it's some high power type of figure, you got to have a bunch of people down there to help you. Like, I know just to try to drag Diddy in there, they had to figure out something. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't just going off of if I went in there and said, Diddy touched me. You know what I mean? Take that off the record. I'm just using it as an example, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was funny. But go ahead.
Usually what the case that happens is the people that are the victims, they get paper whipped after when it gets to court, because you got to go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And those people who commit, they papers a little long, so they can just bury them in paperwork in court and they just give up. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate too.
Nah, that's why I respect street justice, yo. Like one of my favorite hood movies is New Jack City. You know what I mean? My man got Nino Brown at the end of the day, the old guy from the block. You know what I mean? Remember when Nino was giving him $1, like, yo, get out of here, all the little kids. And Nino kept getting off. He thought he was off and he popped. I like street justice.
Shout out to the streets. But when the streets do justice, we got to make sure it's righteous justice. Because some people
Word.
get away doing some bullshit and people don't say nothing, like in this case. But everybody watching, everybody in the comments, look at the poll somewhere over here on the screen. Should Afrika Bambaataa get a pass to save his legacy? If you think he should, type 1 in the chat. If you think he should not, type 2 in the chat. Because we want to know what you feel. Because I'm telling y'all now, I'm being honest with you. I really feel that hip hop, entertainment, American society deals with respect of persons more than respect of righteousness. Right now we have, and I don't want to talk about this too much, y'all, because I ain't trying to lose the channels, but we have Epstein files being talked about. We got PDF files being talked about. We got people we talk about in entertainment, politics, sports, all this stuff being talked about. And this
schools.
We're talking about this, and it's gotten to a point where is everything in our culture defined by sexual deviancy? And if not that, respect of persons. People making these entertainers their God and taking God out of their own personal lives. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's rant time, gentlemen. I hope y'all ready for this, because I'm gonna take it there. You a nasty bastard to be touching kids. And I saw somebody say, rest in peace to Afrika Bambaataa, the greatest child predator in history. I seen somebody call him Afrika Bang Booty. May he rest in hell. I seen people go hard on destroying Afrika Bambaataa, and I'm not saying they shouldn't, but you got other people out here that kill people's children and they don't even say nothing about them. You got people out here who hurt the community in so many ways, but you don't say nothing about him. And it's funny how when people, like when Diddy goes to jail, everybody want to talk shit. But the one thing I will say about this, I'm highly disappointed that it took for Afrika Bambaataa to die for people really to talk about how serious this thing is. Shame on hip hop, because if hip hop really is a culture, then this is stuff hip hop needs to police. Shout out to Freaker. He said Afrika Bang Bottoms. That's what he called. He called
man. I'm just starting to realize, you know what I mean, as I get older, that in the world we live, this life we live in, it's a bunch of like wild, freaky. Everybody just want to hump, like fucking Energizer bunnies. Like, you know what I mean? This, especially when they get money. It's something like that's the first thing they want to do is some weird wild shit. Oh, I've been wanting to do this. Like, and that's mental illness, yo. Like, they need to get this shit fixed, because I can't understand, like, especially when you have access to all the money in the world and you can have access to anybody you want. Like, why deal with children? Like, why? Like, for them people like that, they need to just be deleted ASAP. Respectfully, no jail time. Delete it. If you got convicted of touching a kid, delete your ass. We don't need people like you on earth.
Do you know the story of the Fountain of Youth and why is it called that?
Nah, let's talk about it. What's up?
No, we can't, because we'll lose the channel. No.
All right, we're talking about off camera then.
Just put it like this. It has to do with what we're talking about and the witchcraft of staying young and relevant with the young people. Think about that. All I'm gonna say, yo, let's take it in our perspectives, bro. Let's keep it real. Does a person's legacy hinge on the type of person that they are? Before we answer that, let's go to Freaka. The Freaka says no one wants the truth to be told, especially about hip hop so-called greats, forefathers, and the culture really mimicking the gay scene in many ways. Period. We said that. We brought that up in the beginning that DJs came out of the disco and house era, into starting hip hop, and if they were in those clubs before, maybe they brought that behavior and those trends with them. SA, drugs, all that type of stuff. Go ahead, bro.
Now, I used to always hear this though. People used to always tell me that the gays run hip hop. I always heard that, yo. You know what I mean? And now I'm starting to see, like, you know what I mean? Like, as years go by, you see a lot of people get accused for doing some gay shit. And I'm talking about straight men. Let's be clear. You know what I mean? For anybody that's watching it that might be gay, you know what I mean? I got love for everybody, but I'm just talking about straight men. Like, and I hate to keep bringing his name up, but Diddy, once I found out the shit he was doing some gay shit, and he's a mogul up there, I already knew that it's true behind that shit, and it's starting to come out.
You know, I think
But
I think I think that's another one of those revisionist history things too, where hip hop wasn't really advertised as a real street thing until they probably got to the gangster rap era. You know what I mean? So prior to that, it was always the leather suits with no shirt kind of thing, or the, like you said, the disco era type of thing.
Power
So
Rangers.
exactly right. So it really didn't really started getting promoted and advertised until like the NWA hit the scene and all of that, where the look changed a little bit. So they had to promote it a little bit different. So that's why I was saying that it doesn't surprise me that, like you said, it kind of crossed over from that disco era, because it's always kind of been there. It's just the marketing piece changed a little bit to where now you got to get to more urbanized, and they do their research. They know who's listening to this, and they know that you can't. In the early '90s, they couldn't have came out with that Power Ranger outfit, small, something like that. So it's a marketing thing. It's always been a marketing thing.
So let's do this. It's easy for us to pile on people, our people especially. But think about this. Any sexual contact with anybody underage is wrong, right? How come they don't get on Elvis? How come they don't get on Jerry Lee Lewis? Think about this. Now let's take our time with this. It's wrong across the board. I'm not using race as for anything. It's wrong, right? How about this? Because that's the rock and roll era, right? People talk about rock and roll. And in the 70s, we talk about people being underage, sneaking in the clubs and all that. All right, cool. But outside of sexual deviancy, I was a baseball fan growing up as a kid. That was my main thing. One of the things my mom told me about was let's go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. I went to Cooperstown. Went to go see the great baseball players, right? Mickey Mantle and all of them, right? The statues and everything. And one of the people that were talked about, I was taught, was one of the greatest hitters of all time, was Ty Cobb. Y'all know the story of Ty Cobb? Mm-hmm. If you don't, Ty Cobb was a baseball player who was one of the greatest hitters of all time. He was a stern man, and he played baseball. What pissed me off about Ty Cobb was there's a famous story of a black woman catching a ball, or a ball rolled to her, and she gave it to him, and he balled up his fist and punched this black woman in the face. That destroyed his baseball legacy to me, because he's a piece of shit racist. May he rest in hell. Period. I don't deal with racism. Then you have people like Hitler. Now, and not Kanye West Hitler. Fuck Kanye as well. But you have the Hitler thing. And people have canceled Kanye West for Hitler. Hitler's one of the most evilest men in history. Why don't people talk about Leopold the same way and what he did to the Africans? There was a famous British general named Nelson. Nelson did the same thing. And guess what? When I was a child, I used to watch Danger Mouse. Maybe y'all know Danger Mouse, maybe not. But Nelson was catapulted as one of the great generals of all time that the main hero wanted to be like. And I'm like, you want to be a racist? You want to be known for terrorizing Africans? You have so many instances of quote unquote greats everywhere in society, whether they're Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Vince McMahon allegedly. You got all these people doing these things to people, and instead of holding them accountable, we say that was a great of their generation, a great of their time. Shit, even people got on Quincy Jones. I don't know about Quincy Jones, allegedly. I'm going to just say that. But people get on them, and instead of saying they condemn it, they say, but he was a great of our time, and without the contributions of him, her, or somebody else, we can't penalize their greatness for what they did. That's the reparations talk that black folks don't get today. That because they didn't, those people that today didn't do it, you can't hold that against them, but you're going to live with the wrong. You're going to live with the trauma. You're going to be the less than, lack of, less identified, no identity, non-nation, deviant in their eyes because you're dealing with trauma and they're dealing with the wealth of what was done to you and how you can do nothing about it. Gentlemen, is there anything else you want to say about this? Well, fuck them.
Nah, that's too much to get in right there. But Elvis was, I mean, come on now. I was done with him just when I learned about how he stole people's music and the records and you know, and copywriting didn't really come in, and sampling copyrights didn't really come into play till hip hop started blowing up. So I Elvis could get that for me. But yeah, man, it's like I said, people rewrite history. That's basically what it is. You get, when you're the victor, you get to rewrite history and you get to bury the terrible things. We're living that right now in our current times, right? They're banning books in schools. They're not wanting to talk about certain things anymore. They're closing museums because they know once all of this is said and done and people look up, this is going to be one of the worst times in the world. So they want to bury that now so that they ain't got to deal with it down the road. So that's basically what all of that is all that stuff we talked about with Elvis and you know, just previous terrible people and Vince McMahon and all these people. It's all the same thing, man. It's the same playbook. Bury the story, buried it with the money, rewrite history, try to change the narrative, and hey, look over here, don't look here.
All I gotta say is fuck Elvis. He holds no part in my life. You know what I mean? Period. And anybody that's doing anything negative, especially when God blesses you with that type of power. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because fame to me equals power. You know what I mean? Because off your fame, you can turn that into dollars and live a crazy life for the rest of your life. But people take that and they become abusers. You know what I mean? I feel like it ain't too many good examples of people getting blessed and really doing something solid with it and helping people around them. It seems like everybody becomes a shitty person. You know what I mean? So I definitely could connect when they say the money's the root of all evil, because once they get it, it's like, fuck it, everybody's beneath me. No, I don't give a fuck if you got more money than me. You gonna give me my respect. I'm fucking good. I mean, if we gotta take it there, we're gonna take it there. But I ain't trying to be violent, but I'm just saying. And another thing, when it comes to legacy, you know, it's gonna be always some people that just gonna live their life on that negative side. So it's gonna be always some people that's gonna support his legacy. You know what I mean? Like one of them, Karev, one, I hate to bring him up because he seemed like he loved that man so much because he loved hip hop so much. So I can understand why Karev, but still in all, you got to put that to the side and realize you're a human being, and we shouldn't be treating people like that, especially little kids. You know what I mean? Or anybody, like females or seniors. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So anybody that any negative that holding any type of legacy of power, fuck you and your legacy. You know what I mean? We got to stop praising these old celebrities and start birthing new ones. You know what I mean? That we feel like could fucking continue with this journey that it's supposed to have been on, and not that weird shit. That's it.
Yeah, legacy shouldn't be selective. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have a limit to it. It should be the whole story. It shouldn't be pieces of it.
That's a fact. Like, he was good ahead, but we ain't gonna talk about the Grammy shit he did. All right, look, he did this good. I get you.
Shout out to Freaka. He said exactly, F them. It's too sad. And somehow the old school artists knew, hid, and defended the actions of the perpetrators. Terrible. He said, seek. That's why back in the days, bro, Jay from X Clan exposed the whole scene. Gentlemen, do you know about that?
Nah, but you got to expose. I respect people that. That's why, like, yo, I'm happy that my boy K Dot, you know what I mean, did what he had to do for Drake. You know what I mean? Because you got to expose these fucking people that holding these positions that they ain't even doing what they need to do. right with that shit, or they get too comfortable. You know what I mean? And they be turn creeps because you got it. Like I said, we're gonna go back to the choices. You get that power, you have the choice to do it the right thing. But people go over there like, fuck it, it's lit over there. And I understand that because, especially if you come from nothing, you ain't have nothing. So when you see a big bag, people probably got some shit they gonna blow that shit on. Like, yo, I remember my boys used to say, like, yo, I'm gonna go get some blanks. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Some liquor and turn up and blow money. That's in the back of their head. So everybody got that weird shit they're gonna do. But when it comes to that type of shit, nah, we don't need that. We don't need that, yo.
So let's talk about that real quick because Freaka brought it up. You wanted to know. Basically, the X Clan went out Boogie Down Productions. When KRS-One did the Heal Yourself Human Education Against Lies, and the Black Watch movement was a pro-black, back to Africa, Pan-African movement. They called KRS-One Mr. Rainbow, Mr. Human. They say instead of sticking up for black people, you're trying to make everybody into this one thing where we need to heal black people first. And it was an issue because he even was taken to the streets. It wasn't just rapping. So a lot of people got on KRS-One because they said he pushed the fat dude from PM Dawn, Dub, I think his name was, off the stage. And I'm still number one and all that, but he said he wouldn't put his hands on Brother Jay, and they wondered why. So KRS-One was looked at real funny by certain parts of hip hop for that reason alone. And the one thing I will say is X Clan and BDP, the streets got them together to piece that thing out, and that's why we never heard anything. But X Clan and BDP was a serious thing. And if you want to learn more about that story, you can go to KRS-One's Brothers podcast on YouTube. He has a whole video about it. You can also go to Casino for Life. They got something about it. But most importantly, you could tune into the Mic Council every Sunday at 8 p.m. where we give you real conversation and we don't hold back. Because at the end of the day, we are culturally driven with no skips. And we talk about the realness, whether it bothers people or whether it makes people happy. We're going to bring it up on the show. Make sure you subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop, DJ Kawon, and the Hello Effect podcast on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like buttons. That thumbs up means you fuck with us. And most importantly, leave a comment. We want 100 comments every show. And now we got a new feature. Should Afrika Bambaataa get a pass to save his legacy? If you believe he should, type 1 in the chat. If you don't think he should, type 2 in the chat. And as you see, 100% of the people on the show today say he should not get a pass. So, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, I think we all agree. Is Afrika Bambaataa safe? No, he gets a big fuck you from the culture. What do y'all gentlemen say?
I agree on that.
I concur.
And that's the end. We have no more to say about Afrika Bambaataa, but I will say this. It's very telling that he had to step down, and founding members and their children left the Zulu Nation after the fact. And the Zulu Nation came up with a They released a statement that said they denounced him to save face for the organization. Now, let me just say this. Maybe everybody in Zulu Nation didn't help find the culture of hip hop in SA, and they were there for good reasons. I personally am happy that the people who were there for the right reasons are trying to keep it and to make amends by being a righteous organization and distance themselves from it. But I will say this. If you are a member of the Zulu Nation, we want to interview you on our platforms, and we want to know, how do you make amends for the founder of your organization doing some wild shit? It was just wrong, and now you have to pick up the pieces. This sounds like Planned Parenthood. Margaret Sanger wanted to make people sick on purpose and take away their ability to have babies and call it Planned Parenthood. It was a genocide thing, but now they want to help you with condoms and not having kids or being prepared for kids. That's a hard pill to swallow, and it's very hard to understand. But I want to leave it right there. We are over an hour into the show. Gentlemen, what is in your rotation? What are we listening to?
I told y'all, you know what I mean, I'm bumping Drums Rugged, you know what I mean, halfway through his project, you know what I mean. I said before we got on camera, shout out to DJ Kawon for producing it. I feel like it was a great collab. I don't know if y'all working on any more projects. I don't know if y'all got any more projects, but if y'all do, make sure, you know what I mean, I send them my way. Also, I want to get a shout out to my boy Fame, Southside Jamaica Queens. He got his project out. He getting some great reviews on it. You know what I mean? If anybody want it, DM me. You know what I mean? I'll share it with y'all. And fuck any mainstream. I ain't really been to mainstream. Shout out to all the indie underground artists. Keep doing y'all thing, yo.
Come on, who you got?
I'm still listening to Boom Bap Alumni, my project that's dropping. I did my car test this week and it's dope. We got I'm doing a pre-order right now for an older project we dropped. Me and my guy, Trey Dot. Me and Trey Dot did Vinyl Tears. I produced the whole joint. It's a deluxe EP. It's 5 joints, and then you get the instrumentals too. And I produced this. Everything on this album was done from vinyl. So I pulled my record collection, pulled all the samples from here, and did every aspect of every song on vinyl. And so it came from vinyl, and it's going back to vinyl. I'm doing the pre-orders right now through April 2nd on djkawonmusic.com. It's going to be a one-time pressing, and then once we get it, you get it. That's it. So me and Trey Dot working that right now, and going to drop a single from Boom Bap Alumni real soon. So stay tuned for that.
That's fire.
That's in my rotation right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to drop this show right here. The Goodfellas and the Commission, the group we all needed and did not realize. Make sure you stay tuned to Heritage Hip Hop for 4/21/26. That's in 2 Tuesdays. I'm going to have this dropping. And shout out to H&L Associates. You will see them on Heritage Hip Hop. You'll see him on Heritage Hip Hop. See them on Heritage Hip Hop, this week. Let's see what else is going on. Let's get the pictures right. There we go. In my rotation, Lau Omalau. He got a new album coming out in July, but I got the preview, Destroy All Demons. Yo, political talk. I'm with the political talk, you know what I'm saying? I'm still listening to Esther. Right now, I have not listened to any hip hop besides La Omalau. Besides, I'm getting into La Omalau. I have not, because there's no hip hop out right now that really interests me besides what I've said before. You know, the Book of Himothy, Bad Seed, Rotation. You know, but other than that, yo,
no mainstream. You ain't used to that Fetty Wap.
Fuck no. No disrespect to Fetty Wap. I don't like Fetty Wap music.
You don't like how Jersey, quote unquote, trying to get together with the artists and stuff like that? Yeah, brought a bunch of them artists out.
I'ma say don't fuck with Fetty Wap at all. No, I say As far as the underground and independent, there are artists I'm waiting to hear. Like I said, there's nobody out now that excites me. But I will say this: the Heritage Hip Hop Awards is coming up this August. We have passed the halfway mark, which is February. So everybody that's interested in the Heritage Hip Hop Awards, you will be submitting your albums in about 3 months. Make sure y'all ready. And if not that, if you would like to submit any videos to be a part of the Heritage Hip Hop Awards, start getting ready now, because with the gentlemen we have here and the crew who helped me with this before, we're gonna have a good time on the 28th. And hopefully we'll be able to do something live soon at the Temple of Hip Hop. And you know, shout out to Freaka. He said it's gonna be a Fetty phase. Well, y'all can keep that shit. I don't like Fetty. Shout out to him. I'm glad he out. He could take care of his family.
I heard some of the album though. Did you like it? Me, I feel like he need to come out and see what outside is from being behind the wall, so he could have really stuff to talk about. You trying to come back and do that same shit, just like Max B. I don't appreciate that. Y'all gotta chill, live life for at least a year or two, then give me all best shit, because y'all coming out. I don't understand. You got to feed your family. You want to get back to that lifestyle, but if your art ain't something that move me, I'm good. That's all I got to say on that.
Word. I think the next commercial album I probably listen to is when that AZ drops, that Do or Die 3, because that's coming out on Mass Appeal. So I'll probably peep that out.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, y'all ain't rocking with Snoop from songs. He got like 4 videos on. Y'all messing with the Snoop?
Yeah, you know he was on a Zoom call with the fleets and all that. And
did we get to ask questions? No, right?
I wasn't on it. It was like, it wasn't a fleet per se call. It was somebody else call, but it was like, it was over 300 DJs on it. But shout out to Snoop, but I thought they was a rocker with Snoop. Not them. I'm just talking about people because of his political
stuff, right?
Things and all that stuff. Yeah, but
pick and choosing who we want, ladies.
Yeah. No, it's beneficial. Once it benefits you, without Snoop, without like people don't give a fuck about what else he did.
Wow. So I'm gonna leave our show with this. People say be careful of meeting your heroes. It was great for me to meet Ralph McDaniels, but I started Heritage Hip Hop to find out why in New Jersey did we only focus on New Jersey hip hop from 30 years ago. And by learning many of the stories of the people on the street, the people from the street, and people who rhymed, sometimes you find out it's best not to know because the truth will turn you off. And some of your heroes might actually be some of the greatest villains you've ever supported. With that being said, stay true to yourself and make sure you always stay true to your morals, values, and principles. Because at the end of the day, a person's career cannot save you when it comes to that final judgment. It's going to be your character, your decisions, and what you say, agree to, and adhere to that makes you the man or woman you say you are. May the Most High bless you. Peace. Subscribe. And we out.
Thank you and good night. We are Heritage Hip Hop. Real hip hop. Real